Welcome back to another episode of SNEED-CAST Industry Update, your go-to source for staying sharp in a fast-moving world of manufacturing, packaging, coding, and beyond. If you've been with us for a while, you already know the drill, but if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. We break down the stories shaping our industry so you can stay ahead of the curve without having to dig through the noise. Let's get into what's making headlines this week. A survey by the American Chamber of Commerce in China, also known as AmCham China, reveals that U.S. businesses in China are more concerned about the country's slowing economy than trade tensions. Of the 368 companies surveyed, 64% identified China's economic slowdown as their top concern, while 58% cited U.S.-China trade friction. This shift in priorities reflects the importance of China's massive domestic market of 1.4 billion people, which many U.S. companies rely on for growth rather than export back to the U.S. China's economy grew at 5% annual pace in 2025, but is expected to slow further in 2026, raising concerns about reduced consumer spending and investment opportunities. Despite these challenges, business sentiment has improved, with over half of the surveyed companies reporting profits in 2025, compared to less than half the previous year. Michael Hart, president of AmCham China, stated, "Our companies have to live with the political realities, but they're focused on the business opportunities." Optimism among U.S. businesses in China is growing, with 48% of respondents expressing confidence in expanding their markets over the next 2 years, up from 37% the previous year. Foreign direct investment in China fell by 7.5% in 2025, totaling 693 billion yuan, $99 billion in the first 11 months of the year, reflecting broader economic challenges. Trade tensions have eased following a year-long truce between the U.S. and China, which included high-level meetings between President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Tariffs imposed by the Trump administration, reaching up to 145% on some imports, remain a challenge for businesses, but the truce has alleviated some uncertainty. President Trump is expected to visit Beijing in April, with Xi Jinping potentially visiting the U.S. later this year, signaling ongoing diplomatic efforts to stabilize relations. During a high-level economic work conference in December, Chinese leaders acknowledged the need to reform systems to attract foreign investment, signaling potential policy changes. The survey was conducted between October 22nd and November 20th of 2025, around the time Trump and Xi met in South Korea to extend their trade truce. For businesses and consumers, a slowing Chinese economy could mean disruptions in supply chains, changes in product pricing, and evolving trade policies that impact everything from manufacturing to retail. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for staying ahead in a globalized economy, as decisions made in China can directly affect local markets, job opportunities, and the cost of goods. President Donald Trump's protectionist trade policies are prompting America's top trading partners to seek alternatives to the U.S. market. Canada recently struck a deal with China, reducing its 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles in exchange for lower tariffs on Canadian farm products, particularly canola seeds. Edward Alden, a senior fellow on the Council of Foreign Relations, described the deal as a huge declaration of realignment in Canada's economic relations, noting that Canada now perceives the U.S. as a bigger economic threat than China. The deal benefits Canada by lowering China's tariffs on canola from 84% to 15%, a move celebrated by Canadian farmers who rely on exports for this major crop. However, the agreement risks retaliation from Trump, especially as Canada prepares for negotiations over the renewal of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement known as the USMCA, a trade pact critical to Canadian businesses. Trump's use of tariffs has been unpredictable, targeting countries and industries for reasons ranging from economic leverage to political disputes. For example, he recently threatened tariffs on nations opposing his effort to gain control of Greenland. The European Union is also diversifying its trade relationships, signing a pact with the South American Mercosur alliance and pursuing deals with India. China, heavily impacted by U.S. tariffs since Trump's first term, has shifted its export focus to Europe and the Southeast Asia, achieving a record $1.2 trillion trade surplus with the rest of the world in 2025 despite declining exports to the U.S. Canada's deal with China marks a significant policy shift, as it previously aligned with the U.S. by imposing 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs in 2024. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney defended the deal, emphasizing the need to learn from China's advancements in EV technology and integrate into its supply chains to build a competitive EV sector in Canada. Critics, including Ontario Premier Doug Ford, argue that the deal exposes Canadian auto workers to competition from low-cost Chinese EVs and risks limiting access to the U.S. market, Canada's largest export destination. The deal caps Chinese EV exports to Canada at 49,000 vehicles annually at a reduced tariff rate, rising to 70,000 in 5 years. The USMCA renewal poses the biggest risk to Canada as Trump may demand changes to shift manufacturing to the U.S. or threaten to withdraw from the pact entirely. William Reinsch, a former U.S. trade official, warned that Trump is likely to retaliate against Canada's deal with China, complicating USMCA negotiations and potentially targeting the Canadian auto industry. Despite the risks, Carney's deal signals Canada's intent to diversify its trade relationships and reduce reliance on the U.S., a move supported by some economists who see it as a way to avoid making concessions solely to serve American interests. For businesses and consumers, these shifting trade dynamics could lead to changes in supply chains, pricing, and market access, particularly in industries like agriculture, automotive, and technology. President Donald Trump announced a 10% import tax on goods from 8 European nations starting in February, escalating to 25% by June if no agreement is reached regarding U.S. control of Greenland. The targeted countries including Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland. Trump's tariff threat is intended to pressure Denmark and other European nations into negotiations over Greenland, a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark that Trump views as critical to U.S. national security. Trump stated on Truth Social, "The United States of America is immediately open to negotiation with Denmark and nor any of the countries that have put so much at risk despite all that we have done for them." The move risks straining U.S. relations with NATO allies, as the alliance has been a cornerstone of transatlantic security since 1949. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen expressed surprise at the announcement, citing a recent constructive meeting with U.S. officials. European leaders, including Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa, criticized the tariffs, warning they could undermine transatlantic relations and lead to a dangerous downward spiral. Trump has long expressed interest in acquiring Greenland due to its strategic location and untapped mineral resources, despite resistance from Denmark and Greenland's population of 57,000. The U.S. already has access to Greenland under a 1951 defense agreement with a reduced military presence of 200 personnel at the Patuxent Space Base, which supports missile defense and space surveillance. French President Emmanuel Macron equated Trump's tariff threats to Russian aggression, stating, "No intimidation or threats will influence us, whether in Ukraine, Greenland, or anywhere else in the world." Protests erupted in Greenland's capital Nuuk and Copenhagen, with demonstrators opposing U.S. control and advocating for Greenland self-governance. Danish Major General Soren Andersen emphasized that recent European military exercises in Greenland were Arctic defense training and not a response to U.S. actions. Trump's use of tariffs as leverage has been a hallmark of his administration, with mixed results in securing economic and political concessions. Critics, including U.S. lawmakers, have raised concerns about the president's unilateral use of tariff authority, with some calling for Congress to reclaim oversight. For businesses and consumers, these tariffs could disrupt trade with key European partners, increase costs for imported goods, and further complicate international supply chains. The push for college education over vocational training began in the 1960s, leading to the closure of shop classes in favor of computer and college prep courses. Federal funding prioritizes college preparation over vocational training, leaving generations without access to skills for high-paying jobs that don't require a degree. College costs have risen by 169% since 1980, while earning for young workers ages 22 to 27 have only increased by 19%. Typical annual college costs range from $27,330 for public in-state universities to $55,800 for private colleges, making higher education unaffordable for many middle-class families. Student debt has skyrocketed from $40 billion in 1980 to over $1.8 trillion in 2025, with new restrictions on federal loans announced by the Trump administration in January of 2026. A survey by Holt International Business School found that 77% of recent graduates learned more in 6 months on the job than during their entire 4-year education, and 55% felt unprepared for their roles. Increasing numbers of college graduates are taking low-skilled jobs traditionally held by those with less education education, highlighting a mismatch between education and workforce needs. The U.S. manufacturing industry is projected to need 3.8 million new workers by 2033, with 1.9 million positions potentially going unfilled due to growing skill gaps. Manufacturing has become increasingly automated, requiring highly skilled technicians to operate, repair, and maintain advanced equipment. Apprenticeship programs offer a cost-effective alternative to college, allowing participants to earn while they learn and gain marketable skills. Graduates of four-year machining or tool and die apprenticeship programs can start with salaries ranging from $55,000 to $65,000 annually, with potential earnings exceeding $100,000 in specialized industries. To attract new talent, manufacturing companies must address concerns about job security, competitive wages, and long-term career opportunities. The industry faces competition from employers like Amazon and UPS, which offer higher starting wages and bonuses. Let's go back up to...
I think the industry faces competition is a good spot.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
The industry faces competition from employers like Amazon and UPS, which offer higher starting wages and bonuses for entry-level positions. Manufacturing must rebrand itself as a stable and rewarding career path, addressing its image problem caused by decades of outsourcing and plant closures. For high school graduates, skilled trades and manufacturing jobs offer a viable alternative to college, providing financial stability without the burden of student debt. This episode is brought to you by the SNEED-CAST Titan T7 handheld printer, the ultimate portable solution for your coding and marking needs. Whether you're printing alphanumeric text, barcodes, logos, or badge codes, the Titan T7 delivers high-resolution results on virtually any surface, from glass and metal to plastics and concrete. With its lightweight design, long-lasting battery, and easy-to-use touchscreen, it's perfect for on-the-go operations. Plus, you can switch ink colors in under 30 seconds. If you're ready to take printing out to the next level, check out the SNEED-CAST Titan T7. We've made it to recall radar. So you're going to be looking out for Live It Up Super Greens, original and wild berry flavors. The reason for this recall, there's potential contamination with salmonella, which can cause serious infections, especially in young children, the elderly, and those with weakened immune systems. So what do you have to do? You should dispose of the product immediately, do not consume it, sell it, or serve it. There's also Geneva yellowfin tuna and olive oil and extra virgin olive oil. The reason for this recall, there's potential contamination with Clostridium botulinum, which can cause serious and potentially fatal foodborne illness. What do you have to do? Do not consume the product, return it to the place of purchase for a refund, or you can contact them here. Next up, we have VisiShot 2 Flex 19 gauge eBus TBNA needles. The reason for this recall, there's a risk of device components detaching during use, potentially causing patient injury or requiring surgical removal. You should stop using this product immediately and return it to Olympus. Contact Olympus Technical Assistance Center here. Our last recall is none other than Spring and Mulberry chocolate bars. You're looking for flavors like Earl Grey, Lavender Rose, Mango Chili, Mint Leaf, and more. The reason for this recall, there's potential salmonella contamination, and again, do not consume the product, dispose of it immediately, and you can contact them here. That's it for this week's episode of SNEED-CAST Industry Update, but the conversation doesn't stop here. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell down below so that you can stay up to date. We want to hear from you. Drop a comment and let us know what topics you'd like to see us dive into next. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and we'll catch you in on the next one. Bye, everyone.